Hey guys, BionicleSaurus here, how you all doing? In my last video, I reviewed this figure here. This is the Collecta Utah Raptor. I forgot to mention his overall rating. I made a comment stating that it was an A-. Nonetheless, I don't know how many people actually read that. Felt kind of stupid for making such a large blunder in one of my videos, so anyway, I thought I'd mention that real quick and just get that out of the way. I'm sorry, it's an A- for anyone who was curious or confused from the fact that I forgot to actually say it in his review. But anyway, he is not the subject of this video. This is a brand new 2016 figure from Safari Limited, the Plesiosuchus. So let's get right into this review and talk about the overall appearance. So this replica is really nice. The coloration, the paint job to me is really well done. Now the coloration itself is very simple. Some might say a little bit boring even. It is just kind of a lot of browns and some tans and things, but it's so well applied. As you can see, there's a really nice merging between this dark, almost grayish brown up top and this really golden tan down on his sides. The stripes are also a nice touch. I can imagine that being used for some kind of camouflage, maybe among some underwater plants. Although I don't really know the environment of this guy, if it was more open ocean or maybe if he was even in reefs. I don't know much, if anything, about excuse me, about the Jurassic oceans or about this particular animal, Plesiosuchus. The eyes are very realistic and just kind of believable, and my lights are kind of washing them out there. There we go. They have I think they've applied a slight gloss to them, which definitely helps in making them look good. Nonetheless, he has a lot of expression. The pose is really nice. They didn't just give him some kind of straight pose. His body is actually twisting around as if he's maybe turning through the water, hunting after something. I can just imagine some poor little ammonite or something, I don't know, trying to swim away from him. If I sound stupid by saying that, I'm sorry. I really don't know much about marine reptiles of the Mesozoic. But yes, overall, I'd say this figure looks really good. So, for overall appearance, this figure gets a straight A. It may not be extraordinary, it may not be blowing me away, but this thing looks really good. Excuse me, it's early, I can't even talk. The paint job is really well done, despite being superficially simple, but overall, this figure, just the posing, everything looks really nice. So, now let's get on to detail. I'm a little bit torn on what I think of the detail. On the one hand, there's very little of it. With the exception of the very well painted eyes and nostrils, and unfortunately on my figure, not the ears, but we'll get to that in a second. And the individually sculpted teeth, there's really not much detail on the whole thing. It's pretty much just straight smooth all around. However, it's very close to how this animal's skin probably would have been in life. It doesn't really need a bunch of little scales or some kind of detailed wrinkly skin because it just probably didn't even have that. So, you know, for this marine crocodilian, this metriorhynchid from the Jurassic, it's perfectly fine to make it just kind of plain and boring and smooth, but on the other hand, when we're judging detail, we're judging detail. We're looking at just how complex and how good the detail is on any given figure, and so I'm just a little bit torn on what rating to give. But before I reveal what I eventually decide on, I would like to show the ear on this side of his head, and let me move my lighting a little bit. There we go. As you can see, it's very smeared on this side of the head. It's not like that on the other side. It's just a small little speck of black, a perfect little ear, but on this side it's like very much just kind of a smeared line, which really kind of sucks. But that's not really a point against detail. It is just a quality control error, so it won't affect the rating for detail really in any way. So, for detail, even though this is kind of tricky, I'm going to give him a C+, because at the end of the day, it's really half and half. The detail is just practically non-existent. It's a very undetailed figure. However, it doesn't need to be because it was this smooth marine animal. So because I'm so torn on that, I'm just gonna go in the middle, not really bad or good, just pretty much right in the middle of all ratings. So now the final category, scientific and paleontological accuracy. Well, here's the thing about BionicleSaurus. I have kind of a somewhat expertise in non-avian dinosaurs and modern snakes. Pretty much every other animal group, extinct or not, whether it be pterosaurs, marine reptiles, modern mammals, animals from the Paleozoic, extinct or living animals from the Cenozoic. I mean, really, I'm not gonna know that much about them. And so, I had to do some decent research to even voice any kind of an opinion on accuracy for this Metriorhynchid here in front of us. And in the end, what I concluded, despite my rather uneducated opinion, once again, I just checked Wikipedia and a few other things. I didn't go crazy in depth, so I don't want to act like I really know too much about this animal or whether it's accurate or not in this depiction, because I don't. But overall, it appears to be very good. I mean, the proportions all look pretty much perfect in relation to each other. I think the skin texture and the color is all fairly plausible. I mean, I don't really know what to say, though, because I don't really want to say anything, because I just know so little about this animal and really marine reptiles in general. So, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say that the rating for accuracy is going to be a straight A. From the light research I did, and from pretty much the assumption we can make these days that anything coming from Safari Limited is going to be very accurate, I think that's a safe rating to go for. But again, I really don't know, so if you're some marine reptile expert or expert on Metriorhynchids in particular or something like that, sorry if I sound like an idiot, sorry if there's something obviously wrong with this figure that I'm not talking about. I just wouldn't know what that is. And now, for the part that I missed for Utah Raptor last time, the overall rating of this figure. And my final rating is an A-. Now, the accuracy, while I really not one to talk about it, as far as I can tell, is pretty good. The overall appearance is really graceful and just wonderful to look at. And despite the detailing being very simplistic and in some places just kind of non-existent, it doesn't really need great detailing. Again, that's kind of a tricky thing to suss out, but in the end, it really doesn't need any kind of complex skin texturing or anything like that. So in the end, this easily gets a high rating for me. This is a great figure, and because Metriorhynchids are my favorite of all Mesozoic marine reptiles, this was the one I was looking forward to by far the most out of all the new 2016 figures from Safari Limited, and so maybe that's a little biased there, but I'm trying to stay away from that. And nonetheless, this figure is just, regardless of my personal opinions and things I like, is a really good figure. I think no one can deny that. Thank you for watching, and BionicleSaurus signing out.